Hey everybody, Jason Burmis here. And over the weekend, me and my brother, we were having a conversation about all the madness, COVID 1984 in general, the mask wearing, the fear, but also the demonization of one of the most positive figures in modern American history, in not only my opinion, but many others, Teddy Roosevelt. And we were thinking to ourselves, man, this is so absurd. And I brought up the point that meanwhile, Cuomo, who right now is just like on a weird victory lap tour on this whole coronavirus thing, he's just on Meet the Press. I may have to do a video alone on that, where people are making him into a hero. Meanwhile, a real hero, in my opinion, Teddy Roosevelt, is having his statue taken down. And Cuomo, just a few weeks ago, before the real fervor, when the statue stuff was just going around, I want to remind people, he was defending, and still is defending, Christopher Columbus's statue in the circle as a symbol of Italian Americans, an Italian American legacy, if you will. I'm going to play his quote. I'm going to go over why that is absolutely ludicrous. Why is that, Cuomo? Oh, really, the Italian American legacy? So is that the legacy of a gangster working on behalf of a royal bloodline, a predator class, if you will, to control and eviscerate the local population? Because that's what you're doing now to us. Maybe that's why we're going to keep the Columbus statue, but we're going to take down Teddy Trustbuster, Teddy Square Deal Roosevelt. And I'm going to give some people a real history lesson here that may not know why this is important. Before we get over on this, I want to remind everybody I am fully demonetized here on YouTube. That's 100% with no recourse. Told me I was harmful content. Didn't point to any videos, didn't have any strikes. I don't think that I'm harmful content. Sitting here defending Teddy Roosevelt, the Trustbuster, the Square Deal, the guy that reined in the meatpacking industry, that was actually trying to protect people and workers. No. Can't have him out in front of the Natural Museum. Let's erase those movies too. Robin Williams did too good of a job making Teddy Roosevelt into a hero. $5, $10, $15 means the world to me. Big donors. We're squaring up on the end of the month and really looking to get out of New York. Looking to hit the road and finding real freedom. Because the facts aren't the facts. That's a direct quote that Cuomo said dozens of times at these things. The facts are not the facts. And then he'd say facts matter. Facts do matter. Let's hear exactly what he had to say when asked about the Columbus statue.
Christopher Columbus, I understand the dialogue has been going on for a number of years. The Christopher Columbus statue represents, in some ways, the Italian-American legacy in this country and the Italian-American contribution in this country. I understand the feelings about Christopher Columbus and some of his acts, which nobody would support. But the statue has come to represent and signify.
Has come to represent and signify.
Appreciation for the Italian-American contribution to New York. For that reason, I support it.
For that reason, he supports it. I'm not usually a Vox guy, and I'm not going to get into how many people he enslaved. How, he gave a woman for, by his own account, gave a native woman to his crew to rape. I mean, you can read the direct quotes, okay? But right out of the gates, he decided he was God and took servants. I mean, 1,000 people were committing suicide. I mean, he was not good to the Spanish under his rule. He was a member of the predator class. He was their minion. Okay? Yes, He sold 9 and 10-year-old girls into sexual slavery 100%. Cuomo wants that to be our Italian-American legacy. Keep that. Meanwhile, we highlighted this one before, that Teddy Roosevelt not only was the first person to dine with an African-American, okay, in the White House. Imagine that. Again, Booker T. He's there with Booker T. He had a close relationship with the guy, okay? You can check it out yourself. It was revolutionary for him to do this. Yep. But no, forget about Booker T. Washington. Forget about it. We don't want that. They'd had African Americans in the White House before. Never sit down dinner. Never a personal relationship. That's just the race issue. Okay? Let's just look at some of the accomplishments this guy has. First of all, at the time, he was the youngest president of all time. Okay? And by the way, I think he was dead within 10 years of getting out. Before we get in to some of the great things that Teddy Roosevelt did do, and how, he was a conservationist and actually is the reason we have teddy bears. Forget about it when the left finds that one out. Forget about all that. I want to propose something on behalf of Cuomo. Okay? Why don't we do this, Cuomo? Instead of the Teddy Roosevelt statue, let's have a new one. And what we'll have is we'll have Christopher Columbus behind Teddy Roosevelt having his way with him on behalf of our Italian-American heritage. Can you imagine if you were keeping a statue anywhere for your German-American heritage? It's ludicrous on its face, right? But again, Columbus will be having his way with a screaming Teddy Roosevelt, and then we can have J.P. Morgan unzipping his pants in the front while he cackles, one of the banksters out there of that era. And Booker T. Washington can be on his knees screaming, reaching up, trying to help his friend as a bunch of modern-day brainwashed zombies put a mask around his face. What do you think? Huh? You think that one would be good for us, Cuomo? Why not? I think that's the way to go. What do you guys think? All right. So, I also want to point out right here on the invention of the teddy bear, before we get into all these good things that he did. This is a meat packing plant back in the day. I actually read Upton Sinclair's The Jungle, and at its time, it was really calling for reform of conditions like this. But we'll erase that from history that he did that. The story of the teddy bear is one where he was out on a hunt in Mississippi, and he refused to kill a bear that had already been subdued and tied to a tree. A local couple then made a business out of it in Brooklyn. So, they had heard the story, read about it. They made the bear, and the teddy bear was incredibly popular, just like Roosevelt was. So let's talk about some of those accomplishments. Youngest president at the time, 43 years old, and he took office at 42. All right, he was a Nobel Peace Prize winner. No big there. We just talked about Upton Sinclair, the Meat Inspection Act of Pure Food and Drug Act. That was before the FDA was corrupt. It was for the people. Okay? Wow, how about that? Let's talk about how he was a Medal of Honor recipient. One of the things, other than being a conservationist and a hunter and somebody that put national parks out there for the sovereignty and joy of all American citizens, he did that too. Okay? He was also a military guy that fought. How about that? Huh. He earned a lot of respect that way. So there's your national parks. Oh, the square deal. It consisted of consumer protection, control of large corporations, and conservation of natural resources. The goal of the square deal was to help middle-class citizens while still allowing businesses to be free from outrageous demands that often came with organized labor. He wasn't perfect, but boy, oh boy, he was the Trustbuster. He was the guy, low inflation, Panama Canal. Huh? You want to talk about it? Speak softly, but carry a big stick. This is the guy. Oh, yeah, he was also into judo. There's the Forest Service, workman's comp. I mean, this is the dude. They don't want you to remember Teddy Trustbustin Roosevelt. No, 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 no. No, let's erase him. But Cuomo can sit there and defend Columbus on behalf of an Italian-American legacy. We truly live in COVID 1984. Folks, thumbs the video up, subscribe, and share. We're doing it several times a day over here. In fact, at 8 p.m. in about 2 hours from now, we're going to have Jay Dyer of Jay's Analysis and Esoteric Hollywood on the program to break down The Holy Mountain, the 1973 Alexander Jodorowsky film, and it should be an interesting one. We're going to hit a lot of other things as well. I want to remind you guys that I'm fully demonetized here on the YouTube. $5, $10, $15. It means the world to me. We also take your comments and questions in these boxes, so when we do an Ask Me Anything, we will go over them as well. And we also take the donations live, check back, and take those questions as well. I want to thank you guys. Remember to check out my documentary films, Loose Change, Final Cut, and Fabled Enemies, as well as Invisible Empire, A New World Order Defined, and Shade the Motion Picture. You can support me over on Rockfin, and remember to check me out also over on Minds.com. I love you. I'll see you on the flip side.